Quick reminder, I'm doing a $3.5 million shark card giveaway for the brand new vehicles that Rockstar just added. It's happening on my Twitter account, so I'll leave a link in the description, and I'll be announcing the winner on Friday. So go ahead and enter that, and you could be walking away $3.5 million richer with enough money to afford both of the new cars that Rockstar added today. Now, in this video, we're going to be talking about one of them, and that is a new supercar, which of course everyone gets excited about, and that is the Overflod Tyrant. Now, this vehicle is cool for a lot of reasons. Number one, we don't have many overflawed vehicles, so to see one is pretty rare. But also, number two, this vehicle has a lot of hype behind it. $2.5 million is its price, $2,515,000 to be exact, and it can be found on the Legendary Motorsport site. It's obviously two-seaters, and there's a lot to this car that's very, very unique. So in case you have no idea what this car is supposed to represent, it's based off of the Apollo Aero, which is one of the coolest hypercars in real life. So seeing this in GTA 5 is really awesome. Now, the first thing you're going to notice about this vehicle is it's really big, like awkwardly big. It's larger than almost every single vehicle in the game. Don't mistake it for a mobile operations center or aircraft carrier. This thing is very big, and I don't know why. Because in real life, the Apollo Aero isn't necessarily all that big of a supercar. So I'm not sure why Rockstar made it this large in game, but it's almost kind of awkward to a point. So that's actually something you're going to have to get used to, whether you're looking at it, driving it, or using it in races. The size of this vehicle is going to have an effect on you. And you can just see how much larger it is than almost all the other vehicles in my garage. Now, even though this car puts out a very futuristic exterior, the interior really isn't the same. You see the Overflod logo on the steering wheel, the singular windshield wiper that sticks out in the middle and sort of blocks half your view, and then the normal seats with stitching to match the exterior color. So nothing all that unique about the inside. The startup sound isn't inherently all that unique either, which is slightly disappointing. So let's move on to the customization of this vehicle. Does it get any better there? The answer, unfortunately, is no. So there's 17 customization options when it comes to this vehicle, and that's not a ton. The first thing you can do is actually change the exhaust options. However, there's only 3. You can change the hood, but you can only go to a carbon option. You have respray options of primary and secondary. The primary color is going to handle the majority of the outside of the car, whereas the secondary color is going to handle the suspension shocks that you can see, and also the interior trim on the seats of the car. You've got a couple different spoiler options, 2 skirt options, and that's pretty much it. There really isn't a whole lot to this vehicle that you can do in order to customize it. Now, I feel like customization-wise, this car is really going to be hit or miss for a lot of people, for a couple reasons. Number one, there's a lot of areas of the car that cannot be changed. The rear and front bumper can't be changed. It has to have a spoiler. There's also a lot of carbon fiber on this car that you can't get rid of. Some people will love that. Some people will hate that. Also, the roof cannot be painted, and it's black by default. Not carbon fiber black, but black. So there's almost sort of a mismatch in the colors here, which is a little bit awkward. There's also a lot of upgrades that come on this car. Big diffusers, very interesting looking mirrors. And if you're not a fan of that, you probably won't be a fan of this vehicle. I personally like the really modern touch that this vehicle has. I love the fact that it has those super nice gull wing doors that open straight up. That to me is really cool, but I feel like there's a lot missing from this vehicle. There's a lot of customization that Rockstar really didn't include here. I'd love to be able to modify both the bumpers, the mirrors, the roof. There's a lot I would do to this vehicle. One thing I also think is missing here is liveries. I feel like this would have been a really cool car for a lot of unique, awesome livery designs, but Rockstar didn't add any, which is slightly disappointing. Now, let's talk about the performance of this vehicle. It is a supercar after all, and a lot of you guys, I'm sure, are going to be wondering, well, how does this vehicle compete? Because it is really expensive, $2.5 million. That puts it more expensive than the T20, than the Osiris, way more expensive than vehicles like the Nero and the Wagner. So how does it compete? Well, unfortunately, this car has come at a really bad time. It's come at the Southern San Andreas Supersport Series update, and all the new vehicles are sort of handicapped by this handling flag that Rockstar has applied. It's essentially an engine restriction that actually slows the vehicle down as it goes over tiny bumps. So driving in the city and congested areas where you're not on perfectly flat ground is going to make the vehicles perform way slower than they normally would. So this vehicle is affected by it. Now, I think that without these handling flags, this would actually be a pretty good vehicle. In case you guys have missed any of my previous videos, and if you are interested in some of the quirks and cool features of this car, I've done a video like that in the past, and I'll try and leave a link to that in the description. But in case you guys missed that, the Tyrant actually has one of the highest downforce values in the game of 3.0, which is incredibly high. So this vehicle grips really well. It has awesome handling, but its downside is its size, which is really awkward, its acceleration, and its top speed, which aren't really all that great. So even though you can turn really well in this car, I noticed that because the vehicle is so wide and so long, I was hitting it on light poles or signs that I typically wouldn't be used to when driving other vehicles because of either how narrow they are or how much smaller they are. And then when it comes to acceleration and top speed, you just aren't able to keep up with other vehicles, particularly the electric ones like the Tesseract. And then, of course, when you get to the top speed, the Wagner, you can't even compete with that. Now, what's interesting is out of all the supercars that have been added in this update, this one technically is the best and the fastest. But that really isn't saying much because right now, all these supercars are still sort of limited by the handling flags that Rockstar have applied. So it's kind of hard for me to judge this vehicle because while I think it might not necessarily be worth it now, in a month or two when Rockstar puts out a new update, it might fix this and this might become one of the better supercars in the game. So I am going to be very cautiously optimistic with the Tyrant. I'm a big fan of the overall design. I think the Apollo Aero is so cool. I really wish they would shrink it by about 10%. Then it would be really perfect size-wise. And if the performance and customization got a little bit better, then this would be an amazing car. But unfortunately, as things stand right now, that's not the case. It's $2.5 million, doesn't have great customization, and it doesn't have great performance. So for now, I would actually recommend not buying this vehicle unless you're just a huge fan of the Tyrant and the Apollo Aero design. I'll keep you guys updated in a future update if Rockstar decide to fix any of these vehicles, then it might become worth it to buy. But right now, it really isn't the case. For $2.5 million, you can get cars and super vehicles that are cheaper. There's supercars that are less than $2.5 million that have way more customization, and there's supercars that are less than $2.5 million that are way better performance-wise. So honestly, I would recommend saving your money. Even though this is the best and fastest of the new supercars that are added, they still don't compete, and their price right now is just not worth what you're going to have to spend and what you're going to get out of it. But anyways, that's all the information that I'm going to be talking about for you guys in this video today. Hopefully you did enjoy. Let me know what you think about this vehicle in the comments down below. Are you going to be buying the Overflod Tyrant? Are you going to be skipping it? Let me know your thoughts down there. If you did go on to enjoy this vehicle though, a like rating would of course be awesome. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. We like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care. And I'll see you guys in the next video.